For the last 15 years, Adam Montiel has been bringing you the stories, the people, and the producers that make wine better and more fun. Whether you're a connoisseur or a cork. Here, we taste it, we spill it, we leave it all on the table. It's The Pour with Adam Montiel.
Welcome to The Pour, one of the best wine podcasts in the world, where we taste it, we spill it, we leave it all on the table. Today in the glass, RIISE Wines, R-I-I-S-E. It's because we are hanging out with Juan Mercado. He's going to be spilling it today, talking about what a rich history. Look, first of all, distinguished vintner, founder of both Realm Cellars in Napa, huge name, and then RIISE, a newer name, but gaining a ton of popularity and very quickly. After establishing Realm Cellars in 2002 and gaining acclaim for his powerful high-end wines, Juan shifted his focus to Paso, where he founded RIISE in 2019. Now, RIISE specializes in Rhone varietals and Tempranillo-based blends that are celebrated for their balance, their texture, their elegance. Juan works closely with renowned winemaker Anthony Yount, woo woo, love Anthony, to really ensure that RIISE's offerings continue to impress with their very sophisticated structure and flavor profiles. I love, he's a hired gun, Anthony, but the way he makes his wines for his clients is so thoughtful, so deliberate. We'll get into that with Juan. Juan's journey into wine is as inspiring as it is impressive. Originally, background in nursing, we'll talk about it. Serving as a medic in the Army, we'll talk about it. Mercado's pivot to winemaking was fueled by a deep passion for viticulture. Started his career in the wine world by working with notable figures like Pax Mahle, gaining hands-on experience in Napa, and this unique background gave him a distinctive perspective on winemaking, blending meticulous attention to detail, innovative approach to balanced, flavorful wines. His work at RIISE really exemplifies this. We're going to taste through, even to get some verticals in here, where he combines, his expertise, his palate, but with Anthony's minimalistic winemaking philosophy to let the vineyards do the talking and just let the wine sing. This August, Juan, along with Don Burns from Turtle Rock Vineyards, along with Kit Kuiper from Hawks Hill Ranch, oh my God, this trip is going to be insane, and myself, we are going to join wine enthusiasts on the cork and cruise adventure down France's Rhone Valley. Oh my God. 7-night journey aboard the luxurious Ama Cristina from our friends at Ama Waterways. I just love Ama Waterways, offering daily stops at historic vineyard towns, exquisite winemaker dinners, intimate tastings. We're going to record live versions of this podcast in France. I'm excited to be the MC for all this. The trip promises to be a blend of unforgettable fun, but yes, education, exploration, unforgettable wine experiences, and you will make friends that last a lifetime. For more info on the cruise, you can go to adammontiel.com. There is a link right there, a bar on the homepage that says Cruise with Us. You get the whole layout. Also, if you book the cruise through adammontiel.com, and our friends at Fly with Wine are going to hook you up with a free, large, luxurious suitcase that holds a case of wine. Bring some of them Rhone's wines back with you. Thank you. Go to adammontiel.com. Click on the big bar on the homepage. It says Cruise with Us. You'll get the lowdown. I get the link to the itinerary. You can check it all out. All right, no more further ado. I want to get right into deep, in-depth conversation with the one and only Juan Mercado. Here we come into the conversation just talking about really the double hats he wears, that life in Napa, that reputation in Napa, and then taking his talents to Paso, what it provides, what it offers. Let's spill it.
I think I got a different perspective because I've got access to consumers here, consumers in Napa, the Bay Area, and I also get on the road, so I've got a different vantage point than I think most producers have, because they're isolated to their area. And like I said, I've got the best of both worlds, and Sonoma's there, and I've got my friends in Sonoma, so I'm kind of back and forth between all of them. In terms of producers, yes. In terms of what's happening in the market, like if it's slow somewhere, you get a good feel for the industry as a whole. I'm
intrigued by you because the first time I met you, my fiance was doing a tasting for Epic in LA at like one of old like Howard Hughes's old homes.
Yeah.
That was insane. Just the architecture being in like this person's house, and it was a sick tasting, so many wines. And why are we here? Like, who put this together? And she was like, oh, Juan Mercado. And that you were literally just a first and a last name. Then I had no idea of the rest.
We weren't even pouring wines. We didn't have wines. That would have been in 2020. And for that reason, that a lot of our friends knew us from Napa, from Rhone. And they're like, and this is LA. And at the time, this would have been 2020. So pre-pandemic, it seems like half of LA came here during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
But pre-pandemic, it's like, what are you doing in Paso? What's Syrah? What's Grenache like? So we thought, let's bring Paso to LA. And we ended up with it was north of 200 people.
In someone's backyard.
Yeah.
No, it was
a nice backyard, but
beautiful. I mean, just walking through the house, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and like, then you like sneak through the kitchen. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Howard Hughes' old crib.
Yeah, no, it was fun. But we just did a tasting a couple of weeks ago there, or 2 weeks ago.
Same pad?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta let me know the next one.
Yeah. And so we had a couple of producers from Paso come and
cool.
Napa just to mix it up and keep it fresh.
Yeah. That's cool. So what is it? So you're again, you're very interesting to me because you were a nurse. Mm-hmm. Are we not a nurse anymore at all?
No. My last day was in March of 2005, and it's a 2-year license, and it's about 30 hours of credit. So it's not much. You can knock it out over the internet and do it in about 15 hours. And my license was up in October, and I let it expire.
This last October?
No.
October of 05.
Of 05,
oh,
yeah.
Shoot,
so
okay.
no, I knew, because I didn't want that. I didn't want that safety net. I just knew that I was gone.
Yeah.
At that point, I was already gone. Like, I was not.
Had Realm taken off by then?
No, not even close.
So you really, that was,
no, I was
you
just,
needed that. You needed that jump off to let you go.
Well,
like, I can't go back to
off. And then I was selling, I had to sell wine. So it's like, I knew it's like, I don't have time to go back to the hospital.
What part of the hospital did you work in as a nurse?
Cardiopulmonary unit, ran an open heart unit.
How long did you do that for?
Well, I worked as a nurse for 9 years. So the same hospital, kind of worked my way up from medical surgical for 6 months to what they call a special care telemetry unit, which was 6 months. And then the last 9 years, I was between cardiopulmonary ICU and a supervisor. So I did both. And most of the last 3 years, when I was transitioning to wine, I was working as a supervisor because it just gave me a lot more flexibility. And it was, I could work 2 to 3 12-hour shifts a week and the rest of the time focus on wine.
What made you want to become a nurse?
I was a medic in the Army. So, and medical school was going to take way too long.
Sure. No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So then you become a nurse. Thank you for your service, by the way. So you're a medic in the Army. You come out, you get into nursing. We're in a hospital for, almost a decade. And you must have obviously seen and experienced some just gnarly stuff.
Oh, no, for sure. And I was, especially when it came to cardiopulmonary, I was good at it. Like, I was really good at it.
What makes a nurse good at it?
It's a very high stress, fast, things can go downhill quickly. And it was very intuitive for me. So it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube, in terms of dealing with the human body and just the systems, how they all, if one system goes down, vascular system goes down, it affects respiratory, it affects the kidneys. And so I kind of, after a while, it just became second nature. So I ended up taking care of a lot of the sickest patients. And that was part of the reason, though, that it's like, at that point, it's like, what else do I do? Do I continue to do this? Or, I don't know, I was looking for the next.
Did you get burnt out? Were you unchallenged?
Unchallenged more than anything, which is kind of crazy, but that's kind of how, I was 27 at that point. One of the nursing supervisors for the hospital would call in sick. They would pull me to do that. And I'm like, I'm 27. I'm not even trying to do this. And they're already putting me in that position.
Did other people who were older look at this kid and be like, what's this guy doing?
No, they were nervous to do it. But at the same time, it's like, you've got 30 years experience. I've got 3 at that time. And so that's why it felt like it'd be one thing if that was like my dream. But I just thought, man, it's like, there's got to be more out there because this is just, so the next thing was, do I go back to school and study nursing? Or here's this hobby that I really like, and Napa's 45 minutes away from my home. Do I try to figure that out? And that's what I did.
You don't panic a lot, right? Things go south. You keep pretty cool.
Yeah. It's always, my life is always, that's just kind of the way my personality is built. Yeah.
What was it like? What were your mom and dad like? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Brentwood, farming town, 5,000 people, super small. But it's interesting because even though it was very small. We were kind of on the outskirts of the Bay Area, so there was definitely a Bay Area influence. So when it came to movies, music, art,
E40, you had a lot of E40 spinning.
E40, but it was everything from. I
Short.
remember Grandmaster Flash. And,
Okay.
And
so when I'm listening to Tupac and you're listening to E40.
Well, I'm 53 years old too, so keep that in mind. My cousins were introducing me to like AC/DC Power Age when I was like 8 years old.
Oh my gosh,
like 78. So no, I mean, music was a big part growing up, but I was always into sketching. My brother is an amazing like sketch artist. He doesn't do it professionally, but he should have. But my dad, after he passed, we found a lot of his artwork, so it kind of made sense. Like, wow, this is where we got it from. Was from him. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom, but part-time she sang in a band, and she did that for about 20 years. And so
she's still around.
Yeah. She's still around. Yeah.
How's she doing?
She's good. She's 87, and she's still a pain in the butt at times, but she's great. Yeah.
That's family. I love it. So we become a nurse, and then at some point we're like, we want to make real money. We want to get into wine.
No, yeah. Yeah, I wish. Yeah.
But at some point, though, you must have been able to use, I mean, were you saving capital to get into this?
Or? Well, I luckily had a house that I was able to, ultimately borrow against. I had a great had a retirement, and that's what I started it with another business partner. And yeah, between the two of us, we started it very small, pretty organic, and it just kind of built it from there.
How much into the wine process did you want to get into? Did you educate yourself on? Did you want to know about, yearn to know about? And even the stuff you did know about, did you want to actually use? Like, and I'm going to ask later on, as we talk about like your winemaker, Anthony Yount, and stuff like that. Like, are we kind of putting our flavor? Because he's very much one of these winemakers that will be like a hired gun, but he really wants to know what your mission with the wine is.
Yeah.
So how much did you want to get into the process and educate yourself on it?
Well, no, I wanted to learn every aspect of it. I wanted to, I'm a wine geek when it really comes down to it. Like and maybe that's part of the reason that I got into wine, because it's like a puzzle that you never master. There's always a new vintage for every producer. So even if you like a producer, whether it's Italian, whether it's French, Australian, you're trying to learn about it. So even when you think you've finally figured it out, there's a new vintage. So, and that's what I love about it.
You were talking about this wines from all over like the world. It's interesting. You try that new Rhone wine that the Saw movie was about and stuff?
No.
Have you heard about it? Do you know the story?
No.
Okay, so the new Psalm movie is about some wine that came from Iran. And to be honest, I haven't even seen the movie. I just got this explained to me as the bottle was being, offered to us at the table over the weekend at the Buckhorn. The new Psalm movie is about this wine where the grapes come from Iran, and it's called like a wine in exile. They sneakily got the wine out of the country into Armenia, where they made the wine, and it's this incredible Rocher. I've never even heard of the grape or anything, but I don't know, just got me thinking of, as you were talking about different wines from the world. Do you have a certain place in the world that you like, if you're looking at a wine list, that you'll just kind of zero in on?
Well, I mean, I like wines. I like all wines, honestly, as long as they're a great example of what they should be. Well, a lot of it's based on money too. It's like, I love Burgundy, for example, but at some point, it's like, do you want to spend $500 on a bottle of Italian wine versus what kind of return are you getting on a Burgundy? Do you get the same type of?
So you're thinking like a businessman almost. Like, what's my ROI?
No, I'm looking at, in terms of gratification and return, they're both great. But like, you're looking at pedigree, where it comes from, the history, the story, who you're having it with. So you look at all those things, and it's like, okay, what do you want to spend? There's great Cab Franc from the Loire, Clos Rougeard. Do I want to spend $300 on that? Or do I want a great Cab Franc from Saint-Emilion for $800? Oh. And they're both very different.
Right.
But they're both beautiful.
What would you choose?
Depends who I'm with.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if I'm with consumer collector, they're probably going to want Saint-Emilion. If I'm with a Somm or another friend that's really into wine that doesn't care, it's like we're going to get the same satisfaction in a different way from Clos Rougeard.
Yes.
And they're both very different. They're not, I'm not saying one's better than the other, but they're different.
I think the most money I've ever spent on a bottle of wine was like €180. What's the most expensive bottle of wine that you've bought? Lay it out there.
I don't even know. It's probably, I haven't.
North of a G? Yeah.
Yeah, but not much. But
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate that, friends and stuff.
Oh,
that
sure.
And it's been a
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've drank more wine than just been lucky because I get to interview people like you. But no, like in the moment we were like, this wine is so dang good. I have to come home with a bottle of it.
Yeah.
I just have to.
Yeah, well, I won't go home with it. That's the thing.
Yeah, really?
I will drink it. Like I'm not.
I can't even get my fiance to let me open it, Juan.
Yeah.
It's the Old Vine Roussanne from Beaucastel.
Oh yeah, Old Vine. Yeah, that's a great.
Via Vine,
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know how to pronounce it, but
yeah, the Old Vine. It's great. That's world class. No, but yeah, like I said, it's
a G. We'll say a G.
Yeah. That's a safe.
Yeah. Take me to the moment where you either it just occurs to your heart and your mind all at once. Oh my God, Realm is taking off. Realm, this is a home run. We hit it.
Oh, I don't think you ever, in hindsight's easy. You can look back and say this is when it took off. I don't think you're ever satisfied, if that makes, like, you never like there are steps. Like 05 vintage was a very special step for us when that was released, probably in 07. But then you have the crash in 08, right? And then you have, obviously, the 12 vintage was very special. So that would have been like in 2014. That was the next big step. But I don't know if there's ever a time where you're just like, oh, we did it. Because you're already past, at least that's the way I think. You're already looking,
right?
Like, how do I get better? And what would I have done differently?
What's next?
Yeah, exactly. It's like these are great reviews. Now there's still room for improvement, which is kind of sad in some ways. Like, I've learned now to appreciate it, but I still don't appreciate it like as much as I think I should.
You're right. I look at pictures of myself. I think everyone does this. You look at pictures of yourself 3-4 years from wherever you are today. And at the time you hated those pictures of yourself.
Yeah.
And then you look back, you're like, that was, got dimples at least. Like, it looks all right. You know what I mean? Like, you always look back and you go, why didn't I appreciate whatever was going on then more? Why was I so, and I guess it's good to be forward thinking, but
I think that anyone that's getting into wine, very similar to the restaurant business, like you don't do it for the money.
Oh yeah.
But you're also not looking
Welcome to radio. Welcome to broadcasting, my man.
Yeah, but true. But you're not looking at, there's no red flags either. Like, it's a passion project.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you get to do really well at it. If you're lucky, you get to become a Howard Stern. You get to do that. But take a step back, you realize how many wine producers, how many restaurateurs, how many media actually become big. It's very few. Yeah, but that's not why you get into it. And that's part of, I think, why we're, at least people that get into those are wired that way, if that makes sense.
Totally does.
That's why I am. So it's never like this project ever got to 10,000 cases. I'm still going to be like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Because that's just the way I think I'm wired.
When you start throwing some of your attention and time and resources to Paso, and as we get into RIISE, what changes with your relationship with Realm? Do you remove yourself a little bit? Do you sell shares? Like, what exactly happened technically?
No. I've been removed now for, like, in terms of, I haven't been involved from a day-to-day since 2019. 2019 is when, once I started coming here.
Was that hard to, like, rinse your hands of that in a way?
Yes and no. Initially, I was nervous, for sure. I was nervous, but I realized, it's like Realm's the first and only wine thing I'd ever done. I also realized that I had learned a lot, and I realized that I was also ready to do something like, all right, this is how I would do things and what I would do differently. And I realized that I had already removed, there was already a part of me that was already looking forward to the next thing.
What were some of those things that you wish, I'm going to do, when I reincarnate, what is next, whatever is next, whenever it is, I'm going to do X, Y, Z differently. What were some of those pinnacles?
Well, I've learned now, like, just not to rush into things. Like, it's got to feel right. I've learned to trust my gut. And it's one of those things, like, in hindsight, I would have, whether it's a particular label or I've learned now, like, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. I've learned to trust my gut when it comes to that, especially with
That's good.
branding, with image, with the wine itself. You know, it's got to check all the boxes, and if it doesn't, then it's not right. Something's wrong.
Who's the first person you meet in Paso? How does that, your introduction to Paso, the way you fell in love with it, how does this all begin, the story?
Well, I was very lucky because in 2020 and 21, I was working harvest. I was still at the hospital, but I would take a month off, and I was working with Pax Mahle up in Sonoma. And he invited me on a road trip in 2003.
Have you always hung with the cool kids? Have you been that, like, it seems like you've always been like in the in crowd or like been the...
No, you know, it's no. Because, I mean, no one knew who Pax was at the time. And which is the best part, because he invited me on a road trip to see Manfred Krankel.
More cool kids club, right? Yeah.
Well, he was cool.
Sure. Right.
We knew he was cool, but no. I mean, no one knew who we were by any means. And I had wine in barrel at that time, but we didn't even have a name Realm at that point.
Wow.
And one of the stops was Hanata, and it was just a great trip. And then on Wednesday, we were coming by this little event called Hospice de Rhone, and we got here to Paso for the first time. My first time really here. I'd driven through, but that was it. And we dropped off our bags at the Travelodge on Spring Street, and then we went to a party at Justin Smith's house.
Cool.
And that was in 2003.
Nice.
But keep in mind, his first vintage was 2001, so he had one vintage out. I met Eric Jensen, who's one of my dearest, closest friends.
Sure.
His first vintage would be 2005. The only one that had vintages, and I just had lunch with him, with Chris Cherry. He was the only one that really had wines in the marketplace. That was it. And then you had Scott Hawley from Torrin. So they
Matt
were
Travison.
all... Yeah. I don't remember. I don't think Matt was there. But that core group, Fonaseo, obviously.
Sure, right.
He was there. But I got to meet all these guys at this party, which is kind of random. And we kept in touch. And kind of from afar, they would see what I was doing. I would watch what they were doing. And
were they ever trying to, dude, I'm telling you, man, the fruit here, you got to do something here, my man. Come on.
Eric was for a long time.
Sure.
You know, in 2015, we brought the whole Realm team here for a retreat. It was always like a home away from home.
What does Napa think of Paso? The people who are really in and really know what's up. What do the cool kids think of Paso?
No, they love it. I think from like producer-wise, the thing that they probably envy the most is just having the flexibility
do what you want
of doing what you want more than anything.
That's why you're here. It's why Helen's here. It's why some of these big names moved here.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where years ago someone asked me, like, if you could work with any varietal, what would it be? And I said Grenache. It's like, would Realm ever make a Grenache? I'm like, no. If we made one, we'd drink it ourselves,
right?
Because you just can't. There's different families out there. You either focus on Bordeaux, you either focus on Burgundy, or you focus on Rhone. That's just, it's like history of wine. It's kind of proving that you've got to be you don't have to, but the very best are very hyper-focused.
Was this a long play for you as you're starting to flirt with the idea, even in your head before any actions are taken? You're starting to flirt with the idea, Paso, okay, maybe I come up there, maybe I find some property, maybe I talk to, this gal who does real estate and be like, keep your finger on the pulse. Where does it start? Actionable items start being taken?
It was pretty organic. Eric was a big instigator in a good way.
I love the way that you use that word, the perfect, right?
Yeah. No, Eric was great. And
he's awesome.
Yeah, he's great for the area,
yeah.
And he's a great promoter and a great friend. And he really helped facilitate, open up some doors. He's the one that made the intro to Anthony. And yeah, it was all pretty organic. None of it was planned, but it needed to feel right. I didn't want to force it, and because I had options, I could have done just about
whatever you want to do,
anything at that point.
Yeah. So you start getting introduced to different winemakers. I'm sure you're probably considering more than just Anthony. I'm not going to ask you who those other names are, at least on the air. But the idea is you're like, okay, who is going to dial in? What do you tell Anthony? Because Anthony, like we touched on a minute ago, he's really one of these winemakers that, and I call him like that hired gun, that really doesn't want to make his own wines with your name on it. He wants to capture your idea and MO.
No, it's true. And it's difficult for a lot of winemakers when for some of them, and Anthony would be one of them. If you're making 3 or 4 wines for 3 or 4 clients, you have to decide what that wine is on your own. Then how do you separate your own project from those, right? And
Great point.
When you have, because he's got his own great brand, Rhone and such, up in York Mountain, his estate vineyard. That's his expression of what he wants from York Mountain, Syrah, Grenache. And so he invites you as a client to give him that direction in terms of what you want. That's what he's asking for. And I remember I overheard him say one day to someone, he was asked, like, what's the difference between working like with Juan over one of his other clients? And he says, well, these are Juan's wines. I get to make what he wants, and it gives me direction, and it gives him a sense of being a part of a project rather than being an expression of just solely what he thinks I would want.
What do you tell them? What do you tell them when you sit down with them, these meetings, either blending meetings? This is what I'm going for. Like, what does RIISE strive for?
Texture. In terms of palate impression's the biggest thing. And I like the way he puts it. Like, he's been asked before, like, what's the difference between Rhone and such and RIISE? And this is to oversimplify it, but he'll say 10 to 14 days. In terms of picking decisions, and that's but yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. It's just if you have texture, everything else, color, aromatics, length, everything comes into play. And texture only comes from the best sites. That's why everything else falls in place. The
last time I chatted with you was with Eric Jensen,
yes,
our buddy. We were in his caves, and we were not able to disclose the name of RIISE at that point. And I remember only off the air would you tell me the name because it was very, very new.
Yeah.
RIISE with 2 I's. I loved it then because I told you, one, anytime you make up a word, you're on an easy train as far as marks and, Instagram handles, websites. Obviously, it's kind of like this second reiteration of Juan Mercado.
Yeah. And that's the word. It's a very powerful word. And the double I is actually Roman numeral 2, chapter 2. So, yeah, that was the idea.
Is there any spiritual aspect in there that one might read, or would that be, you're a spiritual kind of dude, or what?
Yeah, but I wasn't looking at it.
You weren't going for that.
Yeah. No.
The art on each of the bottles is really unique. Talk about it.
Yeah, that's Sergio Albiac, who's a longtime dear friend. We met through mutual friends who actually I just had dinner with last night in Napa. He uses computer coding to develop art. He's based in Barcelona. Has been featured in Wired magazine. He's an amazing artist, always kind of pushing the envelope. His artwork is very unique. It doesn't look like anything else.
So he doesn't paint this. It's literally using like almost AI and coding.
Yes, but it's all 100% coding. So there's it's pretty cool. He helped me with the original Realm Moonracer, which was using data from the vineyard during the growing season to develop each label. So we made different label for every bottle. And that's the way it's been since the 2013 vintage.
So kind of like you said, you tell Anthony, this is what we're going for. He achieves. What are you telling your artist here? Because I'm looking at it, it almost looks like you're walking through like Musée d'Orsay, where you're looking like an older painting with an older vibe, with people that have an older kind of retro look to them. But there's these like new abstract colors painted on, and it's really, really cool. And the colors are vibrant. They jump out, but there's also a classic look to it.
Yeah, the easiest one would probably to explain is Jovian, which is our Tempranillo, which has the astronaut. I always like the name for like a brand, especially me coming from Napa. I always like the word Martian, but that was obviously used by actually several people that I thought it can't be that.
It's a vineyard too, isn't it?
Yes, it's also a vineyard. And Matt Trevison has Martian, the label. So I thought, well, I can't go there. So it's like, I'm not from here. Tempranillo's not from here. And that's what gave me the idea for Jovian, which is another word for alien. I was working with Sergio on the labels. Aliens were going to be weird. They don't, you know what I mean? It just doesn't look on a label. I don't want people to be like, what the heck is that? So that's why we thought the Martian was appropriate. The astronaut was appropriate.
So let's flip the script. Let's make it us going somewhere else.
Yes.
You have an astronaut.
Yes,
Smart.
and that's where the astronaut is. And the clock kind of represents time, which is very important for Tempranillo because it's the earliest ripening of all the red varietals out here in Paso.
Where do you get your fruit?
All over. But all west side, it's a combination of both the state fruit, Shadow Canyon, and now here Arbor. We're very fortunate to have great growers. So we have everything from like Paderewski to Four Hearts to G2 to G2 North.
So it's got to be easy to be Juan Mercado and try to get some contracts because they're like, oh my God, Juan Mercado is going to make my wine. Like, yeah, like you just skip the line.
Well, fruit has to become available.
But when it becomes available, I'm giving my fruit to Juan Mercado because I saw one.
Well, there's a little bit of part of that, but also when you're new in any vineyard, you're not getting necessarily the top blocks, right? So especially when you're new. So there is a senior, and that's the way it should be with any grower. I wouldn't want to work with a grower that would put us at the front of the line, knowing that it's just not right for the people that have been buying your fruit. Knowing that, okay, who's the next one that comes in, and it doesn't work that way. So no, it's a lot of we very fortunate. Started with some of the very best. A lot of people gave up blocks so that we could get into some of these vineyards. So that was it was a really cool communal thing that happened here, which was like we're very thankful for.
Yeah, that's cool that Paso's like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
What is it about Paso to you, someone who has great success in Napa, chose to come here? And I always talk about, like, I feel like one of the greatest parts of our terroir are the people.
It's a farming community, first and foremost. It's kind of what Napa was, I'll say 20 years ago, not 30. Eric already corrected me. He's like, we're only 20 years behind. Yeah, it's kind of what Napa, in many ways, it's a farming community first and foremost. It still is that way. Yes, hospitality is a big part of it, but that's a fairly new. But the DNA in Paso, it's the farming community. And as long as you're respectful and you honor that code, it's a very embracing community.
How many cases is RIISE making now, and where would we like to see it grow to?
I don't have like a set number down the line, but right now we're about, with the current vintage that we're getting ready to bottle, the 2022, we'll be at around 2,300 cases. So 19 was our very first one. So we've been growing it a little bit. And
obviously we're mainly direct to consumer. Yeah. Where do people taste these wines, if at all? You don't need to. They're from Juan Mercado, bro.
Yeah, no, we're working to have a place that we can do tastings like by appointment.
Do you want to do that? What do you want to do? You want to have like a place up on the hill, or do you want to go place downtown? How do you do it?
Well, we're working on it.
We already got some in mind.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it yet.
Not yet.
All right.
But
that's cool though.
Yeah. But soon it'll be nice. It's good to put a name to the face, for people that have been supporting.
No, sure.
It's an important. They come all the way out here. It's not an easy place to get to. It's a very important aspect of the business.
Did you feel those folks from Realm would just inherently kind of trickle in? Was there any kind of effort like, hey, by the way, doing something in Paso now? Or did that just kind of, obviously that's going to happen. What was like that transition to kind of, hey, let's try and convert some of these fans that have been supporting you for a long time to...
We kept it very organic. So people had to go on the website to sign up. So there was no... I'm going to reach out to the mailing list or any of that. Because, first of all, Napa Cabernet, at the top of the pecking order when it comes to consumer. I'm coming down to Paso, which a lot of people have never been. And then I'm going to make Rhone varietals, which a lot of Napa Cab consumers don't really know what the differences are. So I wasn't sure who would want to. I obviously knew that there were people that are going to, but I knew that had it been, okay, I'm going to make another Napa Cab, that's a slam dunk. That's a little different because you're taking the variables out. But in this case, I wasn't sure.
Did you ever think that? Did you ever think to do that? Was that written in a contract where you couldn't? Juan Mercado leaving Realm to do another. Well, you're kind of interested in Realm now, so why you wouldn't? I don't know.
It would have looked, optics would have been weird.
Sure,
I could have, but it would have been weird. But like
you could have gone to Ching though.
But our winemaker makes his own wines.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So it's not like it would have been.
Yeah, no, right.
It wouldn't have been out of the norm.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. So no, but I wanted to. Part of it was a challenge. Part of it was also gave me an excuse to come down here, and yeah, big part of it's a challenge. It's like, look, even if I tried to make another Napa cab, I mean, Realm's on a trajectory that it's been awesome to watch, but it's like, okay, am I ever going to top that, or do I want a different challenge?
It's interesting that you talk about, am I ever going to top that? Whether you're talking to a songwriter or someone who has a number one hit song, and then it's like, okay, now the next one, I got to figure out how do we get that Quan again? How do we, manufacture Inspirato one more time? Is there any pressure inherent on you, even subliminally, to have this get to that level to you? Do you have levels of...
there's pressure. I mean, no one puts more pressure on them than me. So the pressure is, I want it to be just something, again, it's the same thing with Rhone. When if I die tomorrow, if this thing continues, and I know I've done it right.
Is RIISE, to your opinion only, is RIISE a failure if it doesn't do as good as Realm?
No, not at all. It's already done amazing things in a short time in what it took me to accomplish at Realm for the first few years up to the fire and everything. Oh, yeah.
So that's got to feel incredible.
No, for sure.
That's so neat.
For sure. No, but I mean, I also had, but in terms of where Realm is today, it's a phenomenal thing what Scott and Benoit and the team there have done. I mean, it's been cool to watch. And it's been fantastic, And so for me, I'm not expecting it to be this massive thing. I just want it to be a very special story to those people that really love it, and they'll continue to grow it and carry it whether I'm involved or not.
Where'd you get your style from? You have a cool way about you, your style. I mean, you have I want to know what kind of t-shirt that is, that V-neck. I mean, you have a style about you. Almost kind of it's almost like a comfy, chic Russell Simmons kind of this aspect. That have you always been into style and clothing and that kind of stuff, men's fashion and
I think so. It's just more comfort for me. I'm not into
Where's the V-neck from?
Oh, this is really inexpensive. It's
just a regular.
It's just what's that Japanese store?
That Japanese store?
Yeah, it's XO or whatever it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just
so it's just a regular. Yeah, so you're not getting crazy name designer T-shirts.
No, I have that, but this is just yeah. No, it's just I'm very
brothers and sisters or what? You have siblings?
I have a brother.
Yeah,
I have a brother.
How similar is he to you? You guys are a little different or similar or what?
He's very different.
Yeah.
Very different. He's definitely much more artsy.
Oh, he's the one who's sketching.
Yeah. He's definitely
so
much
cool.
more artsy, much more...
Isn't it amazing, these people who have these artistic talents like that?
It's much more granola in a good way.
Sure.
Yeah, in a good way. But it's just, he's great. Great brother, great with my son. And
How old's your boy?
7.5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great age.
You and I are going to France together, my man.
I know.
This is going to be crazy fun.
I'm a little nervous.
Why is that?
Huh? Because Don Burns.
Right.
And Kit Kuiper.
I think you should be more nervous than Kit Kuiper.
Yeah, no.
I know, right. But this is going to be fun.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it.
I know the folks at Cork and Cruise, Marianne and Jay, they're just super excited to have you on board along with, they started this with this hope to get, Donnie in there from Turtle Rock. And then we got you and Kit Kuiper from Hawks Hill Ranch. I'm excited to go there and document this just nuttiness that's going to play out. And then On the Waterways really is you've obviously, I'm sure you've been to France a bunch, right? I mean,
yeah.
Have you ever done one of these river cruises?
Never have.
Really?
I did.
I'm sure they've invited you to a trillion of them.
Yeah, I did a cruise once, but it was I've only done one cruise, and it was on a sea cruise. It wasn't a river cruise.
It was an
ocean cruise, yeah. And so it took some convincing to get me to do it. I'm so glad that I did, but I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, see, first of all, the difference between a river cruise and an ocean cruise is wild. I mean, one, you're with thousands of people. This is at max maybe 140, 150 people. The boat is like an embassy. Everyone's got your back. They're super cool. The hospitality, the food. Everything is just feeling good. You're going up and down the Rhone, and you're stopping in places, and it's not like pulling into like Jamaica or the Bahamas where it's like, hey, buy some hemp necklaces, buy some weed, and you're just being like encountered right when you exit the boat. You're coming into a city right as it is, just existing as it would on a Sunday. I remember pulling up the Pauillac on a Sunday when we were in Bordeaux, and it was like everything's closed, church is going on. It was cool, and when you're up and down the Rhone with this one, it's going to be really, really special.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I've got a couple of friends that have already signed up for it, and one of them is the one that convinced me to go on
the ocean cruise.
The ocean cruise.
No way.
And he's got his own yacht with the captain and the whole thing. So
Stop it.
This guy's convincing me to go on an ocean cruise, and he's got a big boat.
I can't wait to meet this guy.
But he convinced me to go on. He's already been on this cruise before. And my other buddy, so that was why it's like, okay, if you're willing to do it.
He's been on an Nama cruise.
Yeah.
And he loved it, and the dude's got his own yacht.
Yeah. So, that was a big part of it. Was like, okay, if you're vouching for it, then Dawn and Kit were the first to approach me about it. But
what were you like when you first got approached?
I'm like, this sounds like a lot of fun, but it could also be, it could mean a new liver for me, rehab. But yeah, when my friends were like, we'll do it if you're doing it, I'm like, all right, let's go. And I'm really excited about it.
You're going to have a blast.
And, the Rhone Valley I've been to France a bunch. I've been to the Loire, Bordeaux, Burgundy, numerous times. The Rhone Valley was the first wine country I ever went to in France 20 years ago. This is my first time actually going back. So I'm really,
this is huge.
Yeah. So I'm excited about it. I get to be
a coming of age moment.
I get to be, I got to be that fanboy,
Are we going to stick to a lot of the itinerary? You cashing in favors and relationships, making texts out like, hey, we're going to be in Avignon.
No,
we're going here, we're going there. I mean, I know I'm trying to, on day 6 when we're in Avignon, I know where I'm trying to go to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty open, luckily with Kit and Don is, he's been there. There's got some contacts. I'm pretty open to what I think it's going to be a combination of both because their itinerary looks phenomenal.
Yeah, looks great.
And then there were a couple of producers that I really liked in Walla Walla that were where I met, the proprietors and stuff. And so.
Where were they from?
Solitude.
Cool.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a combination of both.
It's going to be fun.
And then I also have a lot of friends on the boat. So if they want to go to one thing, then I'm more than happy. Again, for me, it's just revisiting and just enjoying all of it.
Smelling that air, tasting that wine, lifting those glasses again in a place you haven't been in a couple decades.
Yeah.
That's super special.
That's crazy.
We went there in 2018, did the same cruise. I'm excited to do it with our friends from Cork and Cruise and Marianne and Jay. But I mean, like hiking Hermitage and, tasting an M. Chapoutier and looking across, there's Saint Joseph and cruising by, Conjou. It's just like, it's nuts. I love the river locks. I mean, I'll geek out on the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. And I'll probably, knowing me, I'll probably stay on the boat one day just to enjoy the boat.
I know.
Yeah. And so it's going to be a combination of both. I remember the first time I went to the Rhone and we didn't have any appointments or anything, and I didn't know what to expect. And so we showed up at Jaboulet, and we went into the lab, like literally into the lab to taste through some wines. And I look over, and there was a bottle of Beringer, a bottle of Opus, and a bottle of Mondavi Reserve. That's kind of interesting that we're at Jaboulet, and they have these Napa cabs. And I said, what's the purpose of, why do you have those wines here? And they're like, just a comparative tasting. We're trying to learn from other areas of what's happening, what they're doing, which is really interesting.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
You're like, why don't you got Realm though? What you about? Why not?
I know, right? I know.
Let's talk about the 3 wines that we have in front of us, and then we'll get more into the cruise. Again, these 3 beautiful bottles. We started off with the Grenache. We led into what at the end? Or right over here.
So we started with the Doyen, which is a Grenache-based blend. These are all 2019s, and then we
literally a GSM.
Literally a GSM, yes, 70, 15, and 15 in terms of percentages. And then we went to our Syrah-based blend, again 2019, and then our Tempranillo-based blend, which is
I can't wait to get to that.
Yeah.
So the blends here, Syrah. Another thing is, I mean, I don't know if a lot of people. It's one of these ones where I just did a conversation with Toby from Tobin James and Gary from Gary in Eberly Wines. And like these guys together, bringing out an 87 that they made together. And just like Syrah is one of these things that, I mean, Gary brought here forever ago. In the marketplace, never quite people wrap their heads around it. But I look at some of my favorite wines on this planet, like the Epic Block B or some of these Syrahs, and they're just like lights out, the most beautiful wines.
I think with like Cabernet, you have Parazines, right? And so with Parazines,
that green fruit, that green pepperish.
Green pepper. And most producers try to stay away from that. People tend to pick a little bit riper. And so you get a lot of that black fruit, blue fruit, depending on your exposure, where you're at in a valley, which is very appealing to the American palate fruit. And then with Syrah and Grenache, the thing about Grenache is it's still very fruit driven, whether you pick it early or late. Syrah, because neither varietal has the Parazines, you can pick it stylistically however you want. So if you want it to be savory, you can pick it earlier and have that pepper, meaty, lighter component, graphite, that kind of stuff.
Or grow in a cooler area.
Yeah, or you can pick later and have more of that black fruit. And so I think because of that variation, I think it's naturally more difficult for people to catch on, because they're not sure necessarily, what they're going to get. Which with Cab, that variation is just much tighter. You don't have as much variation in terms of style like you do with Syrah, for better or for worse. It is what it is.
What did you see in York Mountain that made you want to get involved by property there?
Oh, cool climate.
Cool climate.
Especially with the weather, the way it's changing. Obviously, if you look at the soil type, York Mountain in general is a very special site. And, obviously with global warming and everything that's happening, it's just, I knew going out west, it was definitely a very positive thing, for us to do.
What are you going to make out there?
We have the majority Syrah. We planted, and there's an acre of Grenache, which was already there. We planted a little bit of Tempranillo. We planted a little bit of Cabernet for blending purposes.
You want to shout out who's doing your vineyard management?
That's Coastal. Kevin
Wilkinson.
Yeah, Kevin.
Gangster.
Yeah.
And of course, Lucas.
They're
the best.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're great.
So you were able to connect to the best as you got in here. I mean, like, you came in here in an organic way, met folks, didn't rush it, just wanted to take my time, right?
Well, yeah, but someone's already figured it out. And so I've always said it's not, at the end of the day, it's not rocket science. It's like, what are your favorite vineyards? Okay, who's farming them? If they're in-house, then that's not an option. But if we're looking for someone, and you see, like, there's patterns, and it's like, okay, we really like these vineyards, and their Coastal was farming a lot of them. And Eric had the biggest probably influence.
I want to go to corkandcruise.com. I want to look at I want to give some more love to the cruise and give our itinerary, a nod, because it's wild what we're about to get into for this trip. Yeah. First of all, we're going to be in France the most badass time of the year. We're flying right into Lyon.
Yeah, I'm flying in from Madrid to Lyon.
Stop it. What are you doing in Madrid?
I haven't...
Are the boys hanging in Madrid for a while first?
Hopefully not.
Let's talk about these cruise details, the itinerary. We're going to start in Lyon, and we're going to hang out there for a day or so. And then obviously you've been to Lyon before?
Yeah. I've been to Lyon. Yeah, I've been to Lyon twice.
They call it the stomach of France. The food there is incredible.
Well, it's funny because Bouchon, everyone thinks like of Paris, but Bouchon is actually based after Lyonnais cuisine in Napa.
Really?
Yeah, all the Bouchons. It's not French. It's not Parisian. It's actually Lyon.
And what is the term when you're describing it? Lyonnais?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it the stomach of France, and the food
which
there
makes sense because that's why Bouchon.
Yeah. Okay, then Lyon to Trévoux. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know. Really cool spot. Every one of these times, I mean, you wake up, Juan, you go to breakfast, you come back. There's like a little thing on your bed. Hey, here's what you could choose what you do if you want to go here, you want to go there, you want to chill. There were days where Audrey and I was like, let's just get on a bike and just go. You know, I mean, like, do that if you want. So it's like all up to you. It is just so special. I'm so excited for Cork and Cruise hooking this up. Day 3, Lyon to Vienne. Then on day 4, we go to Tournon. Some of these places, like Vienne, and I hope I'm saying that right, Vienne, they have like Roman pasts.
Yeah.
So there's like Roman, like something that like literally embodies the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Right in this little French town that you go to.
I'm looking forward to seeing I know there's a lot of historical sites and
fun.
So it'll be a kind of combination of both wine and history and food, gluttonous.
Obviously, you got to bend to Avignon.
Yeah.
Avignon is one of these places where that's kind of where you're going into if you're going to go to Chateauneuf.
Yeah.
And they have like that Pope Palace there, and the Hospice de Rhone is out of there. And it's really, really exciting. And we're talking like from Thursday to Thursday, it's going to be just nuts. End up in Arles. Again, have no idea if I'm saying any of these cities correctly, even though I've been there. Arles is great. There's a lot of like Van Gogh is from there.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun to like, we did a little bike tour and saw the things that he like painted and stuff. It's just going to be an unforgettable trip from what you see and like take in off the boat. Being able to compare wines from that area against the wines and the winemakers that are literally from the area that inspired them.
Yeah. No. It's going to be. It's kind of like if you're a Napa producer and you're going to Bordeaux,
right?
You know, I started this in 2019, and then 2020, you have the COVID hits and everything, so it's been a little bit difficult. But I've had especially since I've had more like Claret Blanche, I've had more Grenache Blanc, I've had more Vermentino, Picpoul. Varietals that I never would have, I think, exposed myself to the degree, but because I'm down here making, the Rhone wines, it's opened up the doors for all these other varietals, and now I'm trying to learn as much as I can. So for me, that's a big part of this trip. It's a great way to expose yourself to a lot of the region, and then I'll find certain areas that it's like, okay, I need to come back here, I need to come back there, and really dive into it.
Do you do these public things well? Do you like, some people have, you seem very, obviously, just good at being personable, affable. Do you like these, I got fans of my wine here, they just bought this cruise. I'm sure some of them are friends of yours, but for the ones that come on board, they're just fans of you and the wine, or do you meld into those situations comfortably and stuff?
Naturally, I'm more introverted. That's just the way I am. But that's why I try to surround myself with really great people, great friends, because if I do that, they entertain themselves, and there's not as much pressure on my part.
Yeah,
and that's a big part.
Do you pack well for trips like this?
Oh, I'm t-shirts, jeans, boots, and baseball cap or a beanie, depending on the time of the year.
Yeah,
I'm good
every day.
Yeah.
So is it just like, what does your closet look like? Do you like these V-necks? Are they folded or are they hung up?
They're hung up.
And then my V-neck is a lot more wrinkles than yours. Is that like dry cleaned or like what did you?
No. I just hang it.
You just hang it.
Yeah.
It leaves hang.
Yeah.
And then you get it. And then, so is your suitcase literally like for a week, 7 white shirts and then.
So what I do is when I do my laundry, t-shirts, that kind of stuff, jeans, I don't dry them. I just have a rack and I let them dry naturally.
Yeah. I do that too for my t-shirts, but then they don't come out as like wrinkle free as that.
Well, that's why I like the Japanese.
Yeah.
This Japanese brand, because they're very inexpensive. I think it's called XO or something.
Yeah.
And probably like $20.
Yeah,
and
I love
that. They don't wrinkle
that's dope.
Like most,
right?
And they don't shrink.
Of course, I don't want to shrink. Certainly, I don't want to shrink. Who needs that, right? So your packing's easy. This is great. Mm-hmm. We're just going to be like a few t-shirts, a few jeans.
I will pack
2 shoes, 1 shoe, same shoe all day. Sandals?
No, I'll have boots.
Boots.
Yeah, light boots, comfortable boots, sporty boots on the inside.
Do you always do a plain hat, or do we ever wear logos on the front of the hat?
This has a logo.
Does it? I don't even see it. Where is it? Is it like in deep? What is it, like subliminal? Oh, is it on the bill? Oh, Maha State, baby. That's a cool black on black.
Yeah, that's
a sick black on black. I like that.
I don't like logos.
Yeah.
So in general, I don't like logos. So
props to Chris on that hat. That's dope.
Yeah. Well,
it looks sharp.
Made it specifically for,
because he knew you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, put on a logo.
I've got one that has I just don't wear it.
No, sure.
Yeah.
You're not wearing like a Yankees hat or an LA hat. Like we just want to do the solid color.
LA who?
Yeah.
San Francisco.
That's
baby.
right. Of course, I forgot you're a Giants fan. My
Giants.
bad. That's all good. Oh man, what a fun conversation. I am so excited to go to France with you and to get to know you a little bit better, to chill with you, cheers with you, share some stories with you. These kind of situations, I mean, I love it. I love asking questions. I love getting to know people. And there probably hasn't been a dude in a while that has so much kind of charisma and aura about him that I didn't really get a chance to know. And I don't even watch interviews with you. I saw MJ's interview with you and stuff, but I still feel no, there's so much more I want to get into with this guy. So I really appreciated you. One, I know, maybe 30% of your time is here and there. You're bouncing around, you're doing your thing, but for you to give me this time or in your home here in Paso really means a lot, dude.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I'm glad. And I really enjoyed our interview that we did with Eric. That was hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, good. I didn't even know this.
That was funny. And I get so much, got a lot of feedback, especially at the time. From people that, they were like, dude, it was awesome.
Good, man.
That was great. And that was really definitely my first podcast. No, it was great. You made it easy and it was fun and been looking forward to this. So.
Do you like sitting down for these things, or is it a little bit nerve-wracking? Because again, you are kind of introverted. You're shy. I mean, not shy, but you're not necessarily I need to be out there. You don't give that aura I need to be out there.
No. Yeah, no. It's all because I knew you already, and I knew the vibe that I knew would be easy. MJ was the same thing. I wouldn't do this if it were someone I didn't know.
Sure.
Because
you're not easy to get a hold of.
No, and
I know that I say this to you in love. I say this to you in love because if you look at my texts and my unread texts, it's heinous too. So, I mean, I don't know if your email box, my text probably looks worse than my email box, but I get it.
Yeah. No. And it's one of those things where a big part of it, though, when it comes to if you're asking, in this case, for a podcast or a tasting, a lot of times I just don't know my schedule, that I'm kind of waiting. And then all of a sudden you realize, shit, it's a week and I've got to get a hold of this person. I remember. And that was why I got a hold of you, but it might take a day or two because sometimes I just don't know when I'm coming here.
No, sure.
And especially I try to be as efficient as I can with my time. So when people ask me when do you go down to Paso, it's typically
everyone's trying to get a piece.
It's and I'm trying to put it all together rather than having to make 2 trips down. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. Here. It's funny because I remember some of the time before you had this crib where you would come down to Eric's and you would stay at one of his houses on the property.
All the time.
And it's Juan's got a party. You like to entertain though. You're good at it at least.
Well,
or you like to have people bring in taste. You like to experience the scene a little bit. I hear a Juan Mercado party is a Juan Mercado party because the Juan Mercado don't stop. You know what I mean? It's a fun time.
No, for me it's I'm here for a small period of time. So
get it all in.
Our friends come over and we have pizza, listen to music, have a great time. I mean, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
And again, great people, they entertain themselves that I don't have to.
Such a good point.
I don't have to entertain.
What kind of music you like?
I like it all.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm not a huge country fan, but I like Sturgill Simpson and some of those guys for sure.
Hip hop, R&B.
I like it all. Everything from
So you got some vinyl as you walk in. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, but rock, you name it. Everything from classics to current. I love music. So that's kind of my.
When you're doing the drive back and forth, what are we listening to? Podcasts? We listen to music or what?
It's a combination. Yeah. Usually I'm on the phone for half of it because I usually save my calls for that. Yeah, and then music and a lot of podcasts.
I like being on the phone. I don't mind it. Do you? It feels like if you call someone now without them knowing, it's heinous to them. It's what are you doing? You're calling. I have the gal, she's a dear friend of mine. She runs the Museum of Art in Slow. It's what are you doing? You're calling me? Well, yeah, Leanne, it's because I want to. I still love the phone call.
Yeah. No, I've never, maybe because I don't make it easy in terms of people getting a hold of me, that when I do call, they're
holy shit, Juan's calling.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm at the dentist right now.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna call Juan Mercado.
Yeah. No. It's great. I've never had any again, it's someone that I want to call, and usually they're going to be receptive.
I just like a phone call. I mean, I can get something done on a phone call when I know a lot of people would prefer text. And I'm cool with text, but I love a phone call.
Yeah, I can get, for me, it's so much faster just to call and just, hey, what do you, rather than a back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to France together. That's settled. Corkandcruise.com is the website to get that done. I would love for you to be on this cruise with us. We got Don Burns from Turtle Rock. We have Juan Mercado from RIISE. We have Kit Kuiper, good Lord, from Hawks Hill Ranch. He knows how to have fun. He is such a great guy. I just can't believe to be on here with the three of you gentlemen and then my sweetheart. This is going to be like a trip that I will remember forever.
Yeah.
People who go on this trip will remember it forever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be a blast. I mean, it's like I'm looking forward to it. Again, my liver's not looking forward to it. But just to...
Let's all go in on like someone we can like hire to do like IVs on us, like IV rejuve.
Well, I think we're going to have one at every stop.
Yeah.
Or have, they always say you should travel with a priest, a doctor, and a lawyer.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's a doctor on board.
Yeah. You're not acting as nurse.
No. My license is up, so I can't.
Is it got to be cool to be a nurse because when something does come up, you can identify it, especially like when during COVID, you can be like, oh yeah, ivermectin is this, or even like blah blah blah, this is this. Like you can identify stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean totally. Even
you still keep up on like trades and.
No, I don't keep up like, oh, this is what they would use for this type of treatment. This is what they would use for that. That stuff has changed, but I know when shit hits the fan, I know whether it's a cardiac thing or that doesn't change, it's a cardiac thing or a respiratory thing. That's all the same, but the treatment is what's changed. So it would probably, someone asked me the other day, like, could you go back in the field and it would probably take me a few months just to learn what the treatments are, what the drips are, but in terms of.
How was your bedside manner?
Friendly
dude?
No, I didn't have to have any. Like, in other words, my patients were comatose.
Oh, man.
And I would always say, the minute they can ask for something, they were moved off the floor to the next step down.
Yeah, because you were at a very critical point in
Yeah. They were coming, an open heart patient. It's a very unique thing in that, at least at the time, in most cases, you go from surgery to recovery. And if you're not doing well, you go to intensive care. And open heart, you go directly from the operating table directly to cardiopulmonary, which is, in other words, recovery, but you're still on life support. You're still on a ventilator. You're still on the drips. You still have chest tubes. You still have all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're not.
You don't even have the opportunity to engage them.
No.
Right.
And you take them off sedation. You slowly start waking them up. You wean them off the ventilator, 6 hours post-surgery, 5 hours post-surgery. At that point, they're off the ventilator, they're awake, they're able to talk to you, and they go to the next unit.
If you're on a plane, let's say we're flying to France, as we are late July, and something happens on the airplane and someone goes, is there a doctor in the house? And no one says a thing because there's no doctor.
Yeah.
But Juan Mercado is a nurse. Do you... Knowing that, do you speak up? You go like, what's up? Or is it like, it's been 05. It's been 20 years, guys. Like, come on.
If no one gets up, then I will. I will always let the flight attendant know. I haven't practiced in a while, but I was a critical care nurse. So let them know if they need help. I'm more than happy to at least help. I can do a lot. And I've done the Heimlich. And
shut up. You've done the Heimlich?
In a restaurant, yeah.
You save the person?
Yeah. On a piece of prime rib.
Wow.
Yeah, and the poor lady was probably 80 years old, and no one got
Break
up.
a rib? Doesn't matter if she lived.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, 80 is very, that could be tough.
Yeah, no, it was tough. It was, yeah.
There's a moment, though.
Yeah, but I was, it's one of those things where surprising how the staff did not
step in. Well, because they're all probably kids or young.
Yeah, but you would think.
No, of course you would think.
You would think like, hey.
Humanity.
The Heimlich,
it's easy.
It's easy. It's not CPR.
Right.
You're not looking. It's a very, no one got
up.
And
it's so effective.
Yeah. Oh, it worked. It definitely worked. And It couldn't. Yeah, it was
You
such.
saved a woman's life with the Heimlich.
It was such a. He was the husband was like. I still remember how like relieved, and I think he was the one that was in worse shape after because he was just like he's watching this, and I'm watching this poor lady turn purple.
Oh my God!
Walking around like, and she can't. If someone can make noise,
cough,
or not even cough, but if you can hear a wheeze, that means they're getting air. The minute it goes silent, that means they're not getting any air. So even if they're panicking, as long as they're making noise, they're getting air. So the idea is to help dislodge it. But in this case, there was no, she's like screaming, but there's no sound. So at that point, it was like, oh boy. Yeah.
Wow. What a story. When was this?
That was in probably 2003, 2004 in
what
San
a
Francisco.
Story.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
That stays with you.
Oh yeah. That was the last time I had to do it. But I remember it was like, yeah, it was poor lady. Again, it's like, wow, it works.
I would literally put that in my email signature. Like TEDx speaker, broadcaster, event host, saved a woman with the Heimlich maneuver. That's so huge, dude. That's crazy.
But it's
just humanity. You do it because they needed it. And I get it. But it's just like, what a monumental experience.
Yeah.
Wow. What a conversation. I hope you enjoyed this half as much as I did.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Chatting with you is cool, dude. I want to get invited to a Juan Mercado party. I want to go hang out with you at Howard Hughes' crib again. I want to hang out with you in France. That's already going to happen, so that one's checked off. We're going to chill, man. By the way,
we're
your wines...
do Madrid one day.
What?
We'll do Spain one day.
Dude, that's where Montiel is from. It's Spanish.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Madrid with you. So, the RIISE Wines, what is the website to learn about these beautiful wines?
RIISE with a double I, RIISEwine, singular.com.
RIISE Wine, two I's, RIISEwine.com.
Yeah.
Are they available for folks? Or are they probably sold out right now? And
they're sold out, but people can go on the website and sign up, and we're getting ready to launch the 2020s.
Cool. Good for you, man. The 19s are awesome. What a great vintage, right?
I know. It's a great one to start.
And then you're right. What a great one to start. 2020, I know, weird vintage, but there's a lot of great gems in there, and I'm sure you have found them. I'm sure your winemaking team will produce some great stuff.
I should have.
Oh, do you have one?
Actually, let me see if I have one. No, I'm excited about the 2020s because, again, this is our first year. So for 2020, I know that the vintage is not as, there's some hesitation about it, but I'm really excited. I think overall our 20s are better, only because it's also our second year. It's Anthony's Tempranillo. Anthony's worked with every varietal. Not every, but a lot.
You gave him his version of Tempranillo?
He'd never worked with Tempranillo.
No way.
And I think it's probably my personal favorite, but with that being said...
What were you going to grab? Go grab it.
Let me see if I have it.
All right, cool. If you don't, take the...
No, I haven't here.
Is that always going to be the MO from RIISE to kind of like wait a little bit and release ones that we're not like doing the standard 2 years?
Yes, but maybe not wait as long.
Yeah. Maybe not 4 years, but...
Yeah, the 2020s for us are like, again, we have a 19 first year. We're able to, at this point, figure out what blocks we like, we prefer stylistically, which ones give us what we want, move around. And having that extra year of experience allowed us to make 2020s that are really round. There's great length, but they're very polished, and I'm very...
It helps because to have a vintage like that, or to have like a wine that tastes like that in a year that just, when you say those two words next to each other, 20 and 20, encompasses so much chaos. In the wine world, what do you think of? No. You think of fires, you think of this. And then in the world, you think of like COVID and life being shut down.
I'll put the 2020s against the 19s in a blind tasting, and we're going to be just fine.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. But this is pretty... this is Tempranillo. Again, early ripener. We did lose, there was some blocks in other vineyards that we didn't use. I mean, this stuff came in super early.
Beautiful.
So
have you ever had to say to a winemaker anywhere, and I'm not going to get specific because of the question I'm going to ask you. Have you ever had to say to any winemaker who's making the wines at any point in your career, we got to do something here. This is not me. Like, I'm not feeling it.
No, I mean, I haven't in Napa or Paso. I mean, there are vintages that I preferred over others.
Sure.
But I've never, I've always said, like, whatever I'm involved with, like, whatever we produce and we release, I'll put it up against anything. But I know some
like
vintages are going to be more difficult than others. So like I think of like 06 in Napa was very difficult. But I'll put up our 06 up against any 06, and it's going to be just...
I like that. So like the acumen, the mission you stand behind, we know we're going to go at this vintage, whatever it brings us. We're going to bring the absolute A game. Yeah. We're going to come with it. We're going to bring it.
Yeah.
And I will be able to confidently say, I will put this one up with anyone next to it.
Totally.
That's pretty rad.
And I'm not saying it's going to win the flight or win a competition, but I know it's going to do well.
Yeah,
and it's going to.
It was our best.
Yeah,
it's always putting our best out.
Yeah, it's going to represent, and well, for sure.
This has been a monumental conversation. This is great. I have enjoyed our time thoroughly, and I only don't keep going on and talk for hours with more wines because I'm respecting your time.
We're good.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hang out with you in France, dude. Corkandcruise.com is the website. You're going to hang out with
it.
Oh, my man. Totally. Don Burns from Turtle Rock, Kit Kuiper, Hawks Hill, and this man, Juan Mercado, RIISE Wines. We're going to be tasting wines from Paso juxtaposed to literally the wines of the area that we are moving up and down the Rhone River with. Alma Waterways is literally the best cruise lines that you can do this with. I've gone on them twice before. Up this cruise with the Rhone, down from Lyon to Arles, and in Bordeaux. Cork and Cruise, I have just absolutely loved meeting Marianne and Jay and the experience that they're bringing. And of course, they brought in Alma Waterways because these folks are about the best. And the experience they're bringing in, I can't wait. I know that even on an Alma Waterways cruise, what we're doing with our folks on this cruise is by far more in-depth and more cool and more like connective. Like they're really connecting with the folks that are getting in on this. So you can go to my website, adamontiel.com, links to everything going on, the itinerary, all of it there. Would love to see you in France with Don, with Kit, with Juan Mercado and myself, man. Where wine takes you, and we are going to France, baby.
Looking forward to it.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
All right, again, there you go. Juan Mercado, RIISE Wines, RIISE. We'll put a link in the show notes. Go to adamontiel.com. Learn all you can about this cruise. We would just love to see you there. Don Burns from Turtle Rock wants you there. Kit Kuiper, Juan Mercado, Adam Montiel, all of us. Marianne and Jay from Cork and Cruise. Go to adamontiel.com. I got the link right to their website. Check out the itinerary. Again, thanks to our friends at Fly with Wine. If you book this trip August 1st through 8th, it's going to be unforgettable. I'm going to hook you up with a free large luxury suitcase, holds a case of wine on it. I just take the inserts out and I use it as my luggage. Flywithwine.com, they're incredible. They're dedicated to providing and creating innovative lifestyle travel products for everyday wine and spirits lovers, as well as being the preferred choice for industry professionals everywhere. They use their products all the time, both professionally and personally. I travel with them. Go to flywithwine.com. Use that promo code ADAM20. Save big, get free shipping. The promo code ADAM20 when you're at flywithwine.com. I would love if you would support my other content. I have a daily podcast called Up and Adam. You can get everything here at adamontiel.com. But a daily podcast, wherever you're listening to this, you can listen to Up and Adam, as well as my wine podcast. It's the top 10 wine podcast in the country. It's all about the greatest wine region, I think, on earth. No one is doing it in a more exciting way than Paso Robles Wine Country. It is my podcast partnership with the Paso Robles Wine Country Alliance. It is called Where Wine Takes You. A new episode just came out. Again, you could listen to that podcast wherever you listen to this one. So I would love for you to check out Where Wine Takes You, as well as Up and Adam. To my friends at Cork and Cruise, to my friends at Alma Waterways, can't wait to see you this summer in France. And I know Don Burns from Turtle Rock, Kit Kuiper from Hawks Hill, and our guest today, Juan Mercado from RIISE Wines. Can't wait to see you either. Whether you were tasting or you were drinking, thank you for connecting. I'm your host, Adam Montiel. Until next time, cheers. And thank you for enjoying The Pour.
It's The Pour with Adam Montiel. You can hear The Pour in its entirety on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. For more, visit adamontiel.com.